host, Sheila Seppi, and I want to welcome you to Cosmic Conversations. Now, our guest tonight is Melissa Feick, but she is a best-selling author and a channel, and I don't want to tell you too much more. I'll tell you in just a moment, because before I bring her on, I really want to thank everybody who has joined us, whether you're here live in our audience or whether you are on the Conscious Awakening Network on our YouTube channel or Facebook or Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, or if you're watching us on replay. I really want to thank you so much for tuning in. We sincerely appreciate it. I do want to give a little shout out to all of our YouTubers, though, and thank you so much. We now have I think it's over 4.4 thousand who are part of our network, and we want to thank you so much. We're growing very quickly with your help. So please remember to always like and subscribe, leave us a comment. And if you want to join us here live, go to the Conscious Awakening Network and you can sign up. But better yet, we want to send you over to the galacticalliance.org. There you can sign up to be on all of our mailing lists for our Monday and our Thursday night programs. And then you can go back to the consciousawakeningnetwork.org and you can catch all of our other programming on replay, or you can catch it also on YouTube. But I want to go ahead and tell you a little bit more about Melissa. I gave you that little teaser about her being a best-selling author in the channel, but she supports the journey of the spiritual adventurer to embody their own spiritual connections, manifesting their power and their divine purpose. Now, she will guide you in raising your vibration and aligning with your authentic path. Melissa is the best-selling author of A Radical Approach to the Akashic Records, Master Your Life and Raise Your Vibration. And she's the creator of Activating Ascension classes, Intuitive Development certifications, the Akashic Records certifications taught through her own Spiritual Expansion Academy. But tonight, she's going to speak with us about waking our cosmic connections. So what better topic than to have to awaken those cosmic connections than here on Cosmic Conversations. So Melissa, thank you so much for being here with us. And I'd like to go ahead. I want to bring you up so everyone has the opportunity to meet you. So hello, Melissa.
Hello, Sheila. Thank you so much. That was so sweet. It's good to see you again. And I'd like to just dive in if it's okay with everyone, because
Absolutely.
great. Well, um, my mission in at this time period is really to bring forward, to help people to embody the ascension energies. And I have been doing this for a long time because it's literally in my own DNA. And what I'm going to talk about today is your cosmic connection, some grid work, some matrix things. And I am a channel, so even though I will share slides today, there are times that I'll just give you information that's coming through, and I may skip some slides. I kind of go with the flow. I don't like a lot of structure in my life. I like to go with the flow, go with the energy, and really just have a lot of fun. I am very open to questions, and if you are watching on YouTube now or whenever, please leave a comment. I'll go back and take a look and try to answer as many as I can. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And yeah, I always share it weirdly. I know it just is easier this way. I find that when I share it without trying to make it a full screen, it's just life is a little bit simpler for me. So we're talking about ascension and starseed wisdom. This is all about our evolution. This is a normal part of our beingness. We are evolving as a species. There's no one here is not evolving. Even the person who you think has addiction issues or is kind of really a muggle or a lower frequency, they're still here during this time for a reason. We're all here for a reason. So the ascension is really about moving into a higher frequency, not new news. But what most people don't understand about the ascension is that in order for us to raise our frequency, we actually have to work with the denser energies. So that means all the lower things, your shadow, basically. That's because the shadow energy or lower vibrations is a very, very dense energy, very dense frequency. Takes up a lot of space in this time and space. The ascension is about anchoring in more of your higher consciousness, more love, unity, oneness, and also your divine gifts. In order to anchor that in, you need to surrender and let go of and clear, heal, whatever other word you need, all those lower energies to bring in those higher frequencies. Because you can't bring in a higher frequency if you're in a really dense energy. Energies don't meld together well. And most people are like, that sucks because I don't want to really have to do all this work. And why can't it just happen for us? And yes, it absolutely can happen for us. And it's good for us to look at the lower frequencies so that we can accelerate it. We could wait till the next coding comes in or the next cosmic rays come in and activate some of our bodies, or we can accelerate our awakening. I'm all about acceleration, doing things fast and deep. And that's kind of my motto is get the deepest and fastest healing so that you can really align with who you truly are. So I want to talk a little bit about star seeds. As a star seed being, and most people who are on their spiritual path are star seeds because we all come from the galactic, from the oneness energy. And you've incarnated here on Earth at this time, even if it's been many, many decades, centuries, thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, maybe even from the last time you incarnated here, but you're helping usher in the ascension. Now, this transitionary period, people think, okay, oh, we're going to awaken. No, this is a transition. This is the melding of 3D and 5D. You meld them together because it's not a beginning and an end. It's a merging. So it's not a quick process. It's going to take time and space because we're still living in time and space. As star seeds, a lot of beings who incarnated as a star seed, they did choose a family that had a lot of karmic patterning to help them accelerate the awakening for all of us. Because if they can accelerate through their lower frequencies quickly, that actually helps the collective consciousness do the same thing. So you are a vibrational leader. A vibrational leader is someone who holds a higher vibration and is holding that for the ascension for all of us. You don't have to be a leader and do what Sheila does. You just have to hold the frequency. You don't have to do it every moment either. If you're doing it 30%, that's more than most people are. As a vibrational leader, my suggestion to you is to really work on your heart space because that's where we're headed. According to the law of one, we're moving from that fear frequency in the third chakra into the fourth chakra energy of love, unity, collective consciousness, age of Aquarius. What happens is that lower frequency in that solar plexus, think about it. That's what's happening in our world. All that old energy of fear, control, wanting to do things their way, making sure everybody believes what you believe. all that energy is trying to pull it toward itself so that it can keep that frequency going. But what's happening is we're overlaying that energy with 5D consciousness, with higher frequencies. And there's going to be some pushback. This is just the difficulty. This is the catalyst of change. And sometimes there's some resistance in that. But there's always flow in the universe. The universe is consistently and constantly flowing. And either we're flowing with that or we are resisting it. There's really nothing else in there. So, oops. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I can't click a button. So, the ascension is all about anchoring in your higher consciousness. Now, enlightenment is when you are embodying a higher consciousness, meaning you embody love, you embody oneness. And just anchoring in your higher consciousness is just a slow anchoring of energy. What I have seen when I travel multidimensionally, when I talk to multidimensional guides, starseeds, other star beings, they have shown me that there is no end point to enlightenment. Shoot. I'm kind of bummed about that. I thought if I got this far, then we were done. Nope. Because it's an evolution. So always when you are evolving and becoming more of who you are, becoming and really embodying more of your own gifts, your own divine connection, it will not and does not look like anything else that anyone else has done. It's unique to you. And that's what I love about it, right? So it's unique to you. So every time you're moving toward a higher frequency, anchoring more of your higher consciousness in, you are helping all of us because it becomes part of the collective consciousness. And as more and more of us wake up and connect, the more we'll accelerate the awakening and the ascension. So one thing that I'm always talking about is the spiritual heart. Now, I want you to understand that this is not a concept that is out there. I've had to search for it because my guides were talking a lot about that. And I was like, what is that thing? I don't understand. Because first I thought it was the heart chakra. No, you have three hearts. You have the heart chakra, the heart that boom, 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 beats in your physical body, the physical heart. And then you have a spiritual heart. Your spiritual heart is activated when you have a full Kundalini awakening, when you live more in your toroidal field, and that the energy of the Kundalini moves up through your Shushumna, up, out, right? And then it becomes the toroidal field. And that's that movement of energy around you. It's a very expansive energy. And when you're in the full Taurus, you are actually one chakra system. And that's the goal of ascension. Because think about it, in our world, we live in a lot of separation and duality. When you start living more from a toroidal space and in your Kundalini awakening, then you become one chakra system. In other words, you're whole. And these are the things that are opening up for the ascension, including the spiritual heart. So let's talk again about the spiritual heart. I know I've gone into the toroidal fields and Kundalini and spiritual heart, but they kind of all mesh together with the ascension process. So the spiritual heart, when the energy moves up the Sushumna, which is that coral line or that middle line from your crown to your perineum to the root chakra, the energy, a lot of times people say Kundalini moves up. Well, no, that's not necessarily true. Kundalini moves up, it also moves down. And when it moves up, activates the heart, moves up to the crown, and sometimes we'll say third eye, but I have been shown third eye is only a piece of it. The ultimate goal is to get it to the crown so it hits the eighth chakra to create the toroidal field. So when you're activating that spiritual heart, you're opening up in a way that is a full immersion, a full immersion of heart space wisdom and connecting all of your chakras at once. It holds a higher frequency, it activates your rainbow light body, DNA codes, star codes, and all of that. So we're moving into that spiritual heart because the heart is really the energy of enlightenment. And I know some of people are going to say, no, it's the crown, it's the heart, because when the heart is fully activated in the spiritual heart, then you actually become a full energy system and you're no longer separate, if that makes sense. So you can ask me any questions. I'm open, really open to questions. Um, I know I throw out a lot of information. I'm looking at my slides. I'm thinking about how
Yeah.
much time I have.
Melissa, I did want to ask one question. So when you talk about creating that toroidal field, do you think that's because the energy, when it comes in through that eighth soul star chakra, that it, that's that place where we begin to balance that, divine masculine feminine energy that has to come in? Do you think that that's a necessary component in order for that kundalini energy to actually activate?
Um, it helps. It definitely helps. Um, I also find that when I do a really interesting way that I activate people's chakras. I've never heard of anyone who does it this way, but I activate them in a way that activates the heart and then activates the eighth chakra. And it opens up that chordal field. So you're balancing that masculine feminine through, like right here on this slide, it says heart mind
Mhm.
coherence. That's also balancing that masculine feminine. And and again, that's the energy of separation. Oh, you're a masculine and a feminine.
Oh,
That's duality.
right.
Your seven chakras. Oh, now you're eight chakras. Now you're 12 chakras. Now you're 15. Still separation. See where I'm going with
Awesome.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't talk about that, but to me, when I channeled my book, they actually said, actually, it was back in 2011. I was at an event and I had this full experience, and they showed me that one chakra, and I was like, "What is that?" And I didn't even hear. I've never heard of the Torah field at that
Oh,
time, and then when I realized, it looked like the chakras. You know, how the chakras come together and then they kind of go out into like a funnel. It was like from head to, but that's the toroidal field. So it was
that's
really interesting because they said you need to be one chakra system.
very cool. Now, you
So
mentioned your book. So before I forget it, can you tell people a little bit about your book and how they can get a hold of your book?
yeah, great. So my book is called A Radical Approach to the Akashic Records, Master Your Life, Raise Your Vibration. I got a channeling of using the Akashic records on the quantum field, which is where the records hold for all of our galaxies, universes, multidimensionally. And what they showed me is that working like lifetime after lifetime or belief to belief is holding us back from true ascension. And we need to work with the karmic patternings. And that's not, I killed you in this life, you need to kill me. It's more of a karmic patterning of like holding on to lower frequencies of fear or anger or old traumas in the energy bodies. And then they showed me how to create one energy system and to help people really transcend those lower vibrations and those old energies that we really don't need as we move forward.
Got it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so if
And
someone
it's
is
on Amazon.
okay, and on Amazon, great. Thanks.
Yeah,
Okay. Now
absolutely.
I'll let you back to your slideshow. I just had to ask.
Thank you. Oh, good. Thank you. It's all good. I like questions because I
Uh-huh.
find that the questions answer people want answers to things, and maybe they didn't even know that they needed that answer
Mm-hmm.
until they asked it. So,
Okay, well, good.
um,
Then I have another one.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
I know that a lot of times people do hold the fear in their bodies. And if they do not have a regular practice of clearing, do you have any suggestions on how people can move this fear frequency out?
Yes. So fear is the ego's playground. The ego uses fear to to make it feel safe in its environment, right? And we're moving from that fear into heart. You have to look at some of the lower energies even below the third chakra. So if we usually hold fear in our solar plexus, um, I say that you have to kind of look at your trauma, your those old energies that keep that fear stuck in there. You can't change it by thinking about it or intellectualizing it. You actually have to look at your lower chakras because most people are afraid of the unknown. When you break down people's fear, it's always, I don't know. And when you look at that, you'll never know.
Right?
So people think they're afraid of this happening or that happening or this thing or that. It's you break it down, it's fear of the unknown, right? That makes sense, right, Sheila?
Sure, absolutely.
And to me, it's all about working on all those lower chakras and transcending those things. Shadow work is good. I like to go in and be really honest with myself. Like, what am I holding on to here? Like, what's the lower frequencies that I'm keeping, and why am I keeping it? Because our ego keeps those energies because it works for it. Remember, the ego is really a subconscious programming. So the
Mhm.
ego isn't separate, it's our subconscious programming activating and experiencing the world. And the more that we're aware that it's just a subconscious programming, that we are not it, the more we're able to work through those lower energies. And what I find is when people transcend a lot of those traumas or karmic patterning, the fear just dissipates. And then all of a sudden they're doing what they want to do. And I've worked with thousands of people on these things because transcending those lower frequencies are really what we're to be doing right now. And people don't like it. Like people are like, no, no, I want just love and light, and that's great, and I agree, me too. But I'm also not going to deny or spiritually bypass lower
Lower
things that are
things.
happening.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, and actually, this next thing about heart-mind coherence, that will actually help with the fear energy as well. Because when you have a heart-mind coherence, that's when more energy systems, like light codes can come in, higher frequencies can be activated. That's when um, your spiritual heart's more activated. You're more in a loving kindness. It's really a very higher frequency when your mind and your heart, and actually, which I don't hear a lot about, but also your gut. So you have the mind, the heart mind, and the gut mind. or the body mind is what I call it. And your body mind is just responding to its environment. Oh my gosh, I feel unsafe. I'm going to respond like that. So when you cohere all three, then you are really in a very high frequency. So I won't go more into coherence. I think I'm just watching the time. So the more coherent you are, actually, I am going to go in because I was asking and they were saying talk about this. The more you go into coherence, and that means that your heart and your mind are playing together. They're not fighting or resisting each other. And that's what seems to happen a lot. We resist our own higher consciousness. We resist love. And then I hear it often, no, I'd never resist love. No, I'd never do that. But why we do it is because we are in that fear. We're in that lower frequency. We don't feel safe. And the ego resists it. And when you're the monkey mind, right? So people are like, how can I have a better way of dealing with my monkey mind or my mind going all over the place? Heart mind coherence. Because when your heart is in charge and your ego is in alignment with that, and your mind is in alignment, you are in a different frequency. When you act different, you think differently because your mind isn't thinking from the ego subconscious programming. It's actually experiencing the wisdom, right? Knowledge is great. People love to intellectualize the spiritual path. Knowledge is something people love to do, like experience and understand. But when you combine that knowledge with heart frequency, then there's true wisdom. And boy, I'm sure you agree, we need a lot more wisdom in our world. We don't need any more information. We need wisdom. We need people who are coming from that wisdom, holding the frequency of that vibrational leader that I was talking about. Because when you are a vibrational leader, you're holding that energy. So let's talk about being a multidimensional being. This is my favorite thing in the whole world. When I talk about codes or light codes or star codes, these are all activations that I do for people, is I activate their multidimensional codes. I've been doing this way before it was cool, way before light language happened. This was something I channeled, 15-ish years ago. And it is all about creating that full multidimensional self. And it's activating the rainbow light bodies. So most people who are open to their heart codes and emotional body codes, and that's more active, we have more availability to be multidimensional being and live from one system. And on my screen here, I have the toroidal field. So this, if anybody wasn't sure of what the toroidal field is, you can look it up. It's Taurus, T-O-R-U-S. But it's really about the creation energy. So the Taurus energy emanates from the heart. That's where it emanates out into the heart, moves around the body. So if you just took your arms out and you brought your, like a airplane, and then you brought your arms up into a prayer space above your head, and then that energy comes down through the crown chakra, down through the heart, down through the root chakra, all the way down to the bottom of your feet, and then back around again. It's like a donut. And that energy is the wholeness of how to be a multidimensional being. When your toroidal field is very activated, then you are more likely to have a powerful Merkaba or Merkaba um, energy. The Merkaba is part of our dimensional travel. Um, and I'm hearing don't overcomplicate things. But the Taurus moves into the Merkaba. They kind of go together. And when you're in that Taurus, that's when you're one energy system. Well, then when you're one energy system, then we're going to bring in more light codes, more higher frequencies, more star codes. There's new codes coming in according to the grid masters. The grid masters are and the ascension masters. They're the ones who are ushering in the ascension and actually creating the grid matrix for the ascension. That's a whole nother thing that I've channeled around. But what we're going toward is that rainbow light body. That's something that the Buddhists talk about. I love that terminology better than a light body. I like the rainbow light body, maybe because I like pretty colors. But the thing that we are activating are the biophotons within the cells, because our cells are light. They emanate light, and when we activate more of those biophotons, we activate more light within our cells, within our DNA, which then activates the energy bodies. So what as within, so without, right? That's alchemy. So as within, we activate those light codes. So without, we activate even more light codes. And they work together. We can't just activate our energy bodies and not activate our cells. We can't just activate our upper chakras and not activate our lower chakras. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? It's about balance. I mean, Sheila just said like that balance of masculine and feminine. It's always about, because for us to embody the ascension and really be connected to the ascension energy, we're here to balance that energy. And it can't just be one thing or another. That separation is old paradigm. We're moving from old paradigm to new paradigm. We want to up level our energy. So I want to share what I've been receiving about the new star codes coming in. So forever I did light code activations and energy activations. What the star code is, these star code energies, and it's not like star beings, it's a codex. It's a codex that holds glyphs, it holds keys. The glyphs are like a full download of information. A key is a key to something. It's a frequency. All different codes come through. And the star code energy is holding very important sacred geometric frequencies for our rainbow light bodies. And it is a very new energy, which means it's still in its infancy for this planetary system, right? This has been, nothing is new. All of this is recycled material, right? Because it's not like, oh, we are the only ones ascending. No, I've seen the blueprint. And actually, this is interesting. What I channeled once was that we're using for our ascension here in this earth right now, we are using a blueprint that's already from a couple other planetary systems that have gone through this same process. But what we are doing is we are tweaking that blueprint with our collective consciousness through the galactic center. So it's economical because we're utilizing this energy. And you know, everything is already been done, and we already know how it works. which is why the star seed beings have incarnated now, because we're like, oh, been there, done that. I know my mission. I'm lucky that I have this wisdom. I didn't 20 years ago. I did not have this wisdom, but I've been shown my mission, what I'm here to do, why I'm doing it, why I came when I did, why I chose my family. Like I know all these things, a bunch of star seed experiences that I've had on other planets. I have all that, and I have that because I am part of the wave that is helping the whole ascension. We all are in them together. I just had to I had to go slow. The people who are being, born now and up until their like 30s, maybe early 40s, they came in with a lot of that wisdom already there. I had to like uncover it because, yeah. But I don't like old school energy because we're moving into the new paradigm, right? We need to move into that. So in this new star codex that's coming through, it's an evolving consciousness. It's always from the galactic center, and our matrix is being created by our collective consciousnesses, which is why it's so important for our star seed people or beings that are here, why it's so important for us to not try to allow ourselves and surrender into the process of letting go of the shadow so we can anchor in more of the light. Because we are part of the collective consciousness. That's part of your agreement, probably from being here at this time. So any questions at all?
I don't really have a question, but I did want to share with you as you're talking about these codexes and how they are coming through really biophotonically. One of the things that occurred with me is as I was working with people, I work with a galactic team, and they began to talk to me about all of the ley lines. I think I shared a little bit of this with you, but they started talking about the ley lines of the body and everything that they're using as they begin to bring in these codes. Everything is in geometric form. Absolutely everything. It moves in through those, comes into the body, works with the organs, these essential light codes that are being brought in from the great central sun via our sun. And one of the things that they reiterated the importance to me that my spiritual teacher had told me years ago was every morning to go outside, stand and allow that sun to hit the chest, bring in those light codes into the thymus, because the thymus is really that place of the high heart. And so you're bringing in those light codes so that they can then begin to disseminate. And so I love to hear you talk about this because, there's not a lot of people out there sharing this kind of information. And I really believe that it's essential for us to have all of these codes and keys right now, and that people really begin to learn how to use them and to see them as energetic tools. It's not just fluff and stuff that we're out here talking about. These are true energetic technologies that we are being gifted with. So thank you so much for this work that you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I agree with you. People won't see behind me, but on Clubhouse, but I have these like geometric pictures basically, and what they are is that's what it looks like to me when I see the matrix. It's like this moving energy, and everything is created through the spheres, and then the platonic solids, and then sacred geometry. And actually, I just was downloaded a bunch of information about sacred geometry, and I'm and the ascension, and I'm putting together another class for that. It should be out in a couple days. So yeah, I mean, it's so amazing what's happening. I have a couple people who want to ask some questions, but yeah, I love that you shared that, Sheila. And I agree, the light codes, they are coming through the grid lines. And like you said, they're grids within the energy body, like the Merkaba or the toroidal field. Those are grids. And those energies are activating our multidimensional bodies.
Yes.
And the grid system this is interesting. Can I share this? Like, so what? For some reason, I'm just really connected to these grids. And they were showing me how the grids were all created and how the geometric shapes, right? They're always morphing.
Yeah.
So yes, they seem like a shape, but then they morph and then they morph and whatever. But what they said is that's how all of creation is made. That is creation. And there's so much more to it, but it's really fascinating.
Right.
So it's my
Beautiful.
passion.
Awesome. So
Yeah,
are you ready to take a question?
Sola.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm open to questions. Yeah.
Okay. Solar?
So Sola,
Solar rays?
did she go away? I think she went away. Okay.
Okay, maybe she got her question answered. Okay.
Yeah, awesome. No worries. Okay. And I think James just sent something in the chat. Oh, Bridget, you can go.
Hello. Oh, hold
Hello.
on one second. Okay, that's better. I'm
There you go. There you go.
I'm not back all that feedback. So Jessica would like to know about balancing in the higher chakras. Like, I think she said she needs help with her chakra balancing. If you can provide more information about that, and she would like to know about the higher chakras.
We all would love to know more about the higher chakras. And I know a lot of people focus a lot on the higher chakras, and that's great. But if you try to open up too many of your higher chakras too quickly without activating your Kundalini, without opening up your lower chakras and really having them clear, you're actually, some people leave their body a lot and they're not as grounded. And then they also have I'm not saying, I don't like to be negative, but it's not always the plan. And people are like, yeah, we want those, where I want to be clairvoyant. Well, what about, I want to know everything. Well, what about the root chakra? So, the higher chakras, honestly, most people's, at least what I have seen, and I know a lot of spiritual people, because I actually live in Sedona, like the epicenter of spirituality. I literally live here. And I can see energy fields. And I notice that most people's chakras are not as energetically clear and as vibrant as they think they are. And people will tell me that their higher chakras are all activated, that they went on a plant journey and it was all done. And I'll look at their energy field and I don't see that. I'm not discounting that. And I suggest just focus on the eighth chakra as the higher chakra first. Get that toroidal field going, activate more of the whole chakra system. And then as you activate that eighth chakra and that whole energy system and you're more vibrant and expansive, that will automatically open up the upper chakras and the lower chakras. You kind of want to do both. It's a balancing. I don't focus a lot on really high chakras because I can do everything that I want to do multidimensionally without that. And I think everybody else can too. My suggestion is to work on the eighth all 8, and then open up to more. And I'm sorry that I'm not answering the question probably the way that was desired.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
She said sounds good, so she's pleased.
Okay,
Awesome.
okay, good to know. Well, I think that there's this. Okay, I really do believe that we are moving into a new paradigm, and yes, there are a lot more chakras, 100%. But we need to work on what we got first. I can't jump from kindergarten to grad school. You're going to miss a lot in there. So that's just my opinion. And I think everybody should do what's right for them. I'm really a live and let live kind of person. So if that's where you feel is good. So Sola, go ahead. I think you had some difficulties. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Yes, technical difficulties, but I'm here and thank you for taking my question. I'm so resonating with so much of what you're saying. Thank you for your presentation, and a couple of things that Sheila said earlier really touched home as well. So thank you. Quick question is in journeys, some of us have been dabbling in metaphysics, and some of us have been dabbling into the shamanic world. And the idea of ascension sometimes confuses me when we think about creating our own realities. So there's a certain school of thought, which I also ascribe to, is we each one creates our own reality in front of us through our intentions, through our mind. And at the same time, the ascension information is also, it's hard to fit that in. So are we ascending according to our own individual ideas? Or is there a type of, or a group of different formulas that groups of us are following? Does that make sense? I sound confusing.
Yeah, I'm going to try to answer that as best as I can. And of course, discern everything. Never take anything at face value. Always discern it for yourself, see how it feels within. So I hear a couple questions in there. So one of the questions is, hey, I create my own reality. Am I creating this ascension or am I not? Of course you are. We all are, because we are part of the collective. As individuals, we also are creating our reality as well. And there is no, is this happening or is that happening? Because it's all happening at once. And it's all happening in um, time and space, right? So it's happening in a time and space of, you know, um, in this time and space, in this reality, this is what this looks like. We're filtering it through our subconscious programming. One of the examples I give to people is somebody walks up to, there's 3 people standing all next to each other. Person walks up and says the same thing to each person, exactly the same way in exactly the same manner. And one person says, oh my God, he was an a-hole. The other person says, oh my gosh, he was hysterical. The other person says, I don't know, nothing, whatever, right? Where are they coming from? They had so many different perspectives because they're coming from their own programming. And when we are ascending, we're moving past that programming into the awareness. So that's why so many starseeds are empathetic or are empathic and empathic, because we're here to be aware of everything around us and to connect to that. And we are creating a reality, yes, within our own experience, but we're also co-creating. And as empaths, we're co-creating in a way that a lot of other people can't. And what we have to do is recognize, oh, I'm feeling some of this. Always accept it that part of it's yours because you're not a victim. Okay, where is this pain coming from? And then also say, okay, I'm probably picking this up from the ethers, from another person, and we're in this together. So you are creating your reality. Yes, you are creating also this experience of the ascension, but the ascension is happening whether you know about it or not, whether you believe in it or not, or whether you care about it or not. It's happening. It is an evolutionary process. And it is a process, the earth is going through her ascension. We are moving into the next dimension. It's literally a cycle. And this has happened many times. So yes, of course, you're creating your own reality and you're co-creating the ascension. And, a lot of people see right now the ascension of, fighting different factions or governments or being angry about this thing or that thing. Other people see the ascension as love and light. Other people are seeing and it's all correct because there is no truth. This is going to probably trigger some people. There is no truth. There's no such thing as truth. There's only one truth, and that is we are all oneness. Everything else is just a perception. Just a perception. So if I want to perceive as people are attacking me, then that will be my perception, that will be my reality, and that will be my experience.
Beautiful.
Does that make sense?
Thank you so much. Yes, you've
You're
added,
welcome.
you've given me a lot to chew on. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your question.
Yes, Stacy has a question.
I was just getting ready to read Stacy's question, and she wants to know about tips for having a safe Kundalini awakening, and if all 8 of the chakras are open and clear, then, as you say, they become one. Then opening higher would then make sense.
Yes. I'm not afraid of Kundalini. I think it's amazing. What happens is sometimes people have a really difficult catalyst that opens up their energy really fast, and then all their samskaras come out. The samskaras are those, blocks and all that shadowy crap that we talked about. And that is why that's good to do. A safe Kundalini awakening is really about clearing your chakras, aligning your energy. I think that you can do breath work to open it up. I think that you can open up through pulling up the energy. I've taught people how to activate their Kundalini, and Kundalini activation, there are, again, just like ascension, just like enlightenment, is people think, oh, my Kundalini is activated and that's it. There are so many levels to the Kundalini. And I've learned that because I was like, okay, that's Kundalini. Wait a minute, what's this? Oh, that's Kundalini too. So there are levels because as you evolve, it becomes more and more of that energy activates. So first your Kundalini is just like, some people rock. That's Kundalini. It's a movement of energy. It's a movement of energy. So if your body moves in any way, just surrender into it. It's usually moving through some samskaras, do shadow work. And I'm all about opening up that energy of Kundalini. And I think the safest way to do it is to go in with an open mind, with your heart open. And if you're afraid of it, then I'd work on that first. Because you know what? Oh my gosh. So I'm dating myself, but I remember my friend, I was talking to her about Kundalini back in the early 90s. And she was like, oh no, you never do that. Oh my God. La, 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 la. And I'm like, what are you worried about? She's like, no, that's the worst thing. Because that's what the gurus wanted you to believe, that Kundalini was bad. And I'm not saying that some people don't have difficulty, but I, I, I also know more people who have good experiences. And but the gurus wanted you to believe that so that you didn't become enlightened. So there's some collective consciousness. Now, part of the difficulty of waking your Kundalini are the samskaras, are those lower frequencies, because you're forcing them out through the Kundalini energy instead of working on the shadow gently. Does that make sense?
Beautiful. Okay.
Yes. So yeah, somebody said, yeah, I heard so many warnings about opening it. Yes, that's because nobody wants you to be enlightened. Get off that bus. We cannot wait for everyone to raise their frequency. Time's now. And fear is, how do we control everyone? Fear. Isn't that the way that we control? That's how society controls. That's how governments control. That's how religions control. That's how families control. Fear. It's a great controlling factor.
Absolutely. Okay, beautiful.
So where are we, Sheila?
I was just getting ready to ask if we have any other questions. Okay, I don't see any hands.
Awesome.
Let's see. I don't see anything in the chat. So beautiful.
So
Well,
someone did ask about like Dark Night of the Soul challenges. Actually on my podcast, I have like 3 series about ego identity, and Dark Night of the Soul. I mean, to me, it's really good. So that's an option as well. Yeah.
and where can they find your podcast?
On my website, it's Melissa Feick. It's F like Frank, EICK.com. melissafeick.com.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, do you have any closing, words of wisdom for everybody?
There's no wisdom here.
Sheila, there's a question.
I'm sorry?
Oh, we had another hand that went up. Okay. We do have another minute or two, so let me go ahead. Hi, Stacy. You have one more question?
Oh, all I was saying is what I was kind of intentioning to that dark night thing was like you wouldn't want to open them if like you have a lot of ongoing or current dark night kind of situation, that they would collide and intensify to the point that it would cause, do you know what I mean? Like, would it be better to, if you're going to work on opening your Kundalini, to do it at a time when you're in a good space in your life, rather than if you're going through a bunch of issues that if you opened it up and a bunch of more subconscious traumas come out and you're already dealing with a bunch? Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. I'm one of those people who thinks that we shouldn't wait for anything. If you're really going through a really, really difficult time, yeah, work on that first. But also, I think I don't like to create fear around anything. When you create fear around spiritual things, you actually are holding back the true frequency of spirituality. But if we are human, we do have to deal with human crap. I mean, hello. And yeah, if you're going through the dark night of soul, yes, please work on that. That's why I like a lot of tools for people. I try to help people with those tools to help them transcend those lower frequencies so that they can open to that Kundalini and higher frequencies.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for that final question, Stacy. I appreciate it. Great. So you've just lots of wisdom there that you're sharing with everybody, and really lots of food for thought and practical advice that people can use, because like you said, whether we are ready or not, whether we believe it or not, whether it's even within the realm of possibilities for us to believe, it's happening. And there are signs everywhere that show that it's happening. And as more and more people do wake up, they really need these necessary tools. And so I appreciate your coming on tonight, sharing your wisdom, sharing your book, letting people know how they can get a hold of you. And if they would like to have a session, do they also reach you through your website?
Yes, absolutely. Contact me at melissafeick.com. I have a contact. I also have, some activations, other things that I give away. And I also do some Akashic clearings. I don't do readings, I do clearings. And I teach. Teaching is kind of my favorite thing in the whole world, as you could say. And I love to give people experiences. So when you take a class with me, you have a full multidimensional visceral experience.
Beautiful. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. It's wonderful to have you here. I'd love to have you back in the future. You can kind of update us, tell us more about the courses that you're developing through your downloads and your channelings. I think that would be absolutely amazing. So thank you again. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Thanks for being here. Much love to everyone. Thank you out there in Conscious Awakening Network land, wherever you're watching us. We thank you. And until we're back together again next week, namaste and much love, everyone. So good night and have a beautiful evening. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.